Next to speak on strategies for neighborhood revitalization during financial crisis is Amy Murray. Amy Murray is the owner of Japan Consulting Group and formerly a global business manager for Procter & Gamble and adjunct professor at Xavier University. She holds a BA in economics from Arizona State University. She is past president of the Hyde Park Neighborhood Council. She is endorsed by the Republican Party and lives in Hyde Park. Welcome.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you for hosting us here this evening. I really appreciate it. Catherine said that she was a Renaissance woman. Well, when I decided to run for council, I say I'm a businesswoman, a mom, and a community leader that just feels that we need a change right now in the city of Cincinnati. We're at a tipping point, and we need to head in the right direction. And I feel that my background, being a community leader and a businesswoman, can help me set that right path for the city. Catherine mentioned that I worked for Procter & Gamble, and I have my own business now. What that will do when we're looking at revitalizing neighborhoods and jobs, I have the background where in private industry, I had to be able to set a vision, set priorities, and manage a budget. If you cannot manage a budget in the private sector, you don't have a job. That is just key, and you have to do it on every single project that you work with. I know we're talking today about revitalizing neighborhoods and jobs, but if we don't have the economic development in the city of Cincinnati, we're going to have a hard time revitalizing the neighborhoods. My background with Hyde Park Community Council, I was president of that organization, and I feel that our community councils are the best linkages that we have to what's going on in the community. I've been going around to the 52 neighborhoods, what's happening in Price Hill, Westwood. I was at Sailor Park today, Mount Lookout. We have what I call the largest workforce of volunteers out there in those community councils. They're working hard to be the ears and eyes of what's going on in the neighborhoods, of crime, of blighted buildings, of youth opportunities, and we need to be listening to these councils and valuing their opinions. On the job front, we need to do what we can to increase jobs in the city of Cincinnati. When I'm talking to folks, coffee shops, small operators, they're heading over to Newport. They're heading across the river. They're going out to Mason or Norwood. Oakley is right there, but people are choosing Norwood because they don't have the business obstacles that we have in the city of Cincinnati. We must become job friendly in the city of Cincinnati to revitalize our neighborhoods. We need it to be a place that companies, jobs want to come. I keep hearing talk that we might be increasing taxes. That's not going to help jobs. It's not going to help our economic development. It will just give another reason for people to go outside of the city of Cincinnati. Public safety, we need to do what we can to have the right number of police on the street with smart policing. I'm hearing in the neighborhoods that people are just really concerned about crime in the neighborhoods and of blight and of drug-related activities on the corners. I will be there to help support whatever we can for the police in the area. I think with the housing court, we need a dedicated housing court to help homeowners in neighborhoods where we have blight. It's become a serious problem and it's hurting some of our neighborhoods. And I think that we need to take strong action to fix that as soon as we can. As I said, my name's Amy Murray. I live in Hyde Park right now with my husband and 2 children. My one son attends Walnut Hills High School, so that is very nearby. And I look forward to answering the rest of the questions this evening. And thank you very much. Once again, my name's Amy Murray. Thank you.
Your observation on how city cuts were handled this year.
My observation on how city cuts were handled, I really believe in an open and transparent government. I think we need to know what is happening every step of the way, and people deserve to know that. I was rather dismayed to see that a lot of the discussions handling the city budget cuts were handled in small groups that other people were not aware of. I was frustrated that people in the community were not given enough of a chance to speak and share their thoughts. I was frustrated that city employees, police, fire, code workers, and city employees were not given a chance to talk and say how they felt. They were giving some opportunity, but people were sitting there wanting to talk, wanting to share their viewpoints, and they were not allowed. I think when we have this type of economic issues going on, we need to be open and transparent and let people know how we're making decisions and why. If you have a vision and your priorities of what's important to the city, then it should be easier to manage the budget if you have less or more money coming in than you expect. But if I was on city council, I would be completely open and transparent to the public so you know the decisions that we're making and it's fully disclosed.
Ms. Murray, also a sort of a follow-up housing question. Currently, City Council essentially gives the individual community councils veto power over new development in their neighborhoods. This has resulted in loud, very loud, not in my backyard campaigns that successfully have killed some really quality senior housing projects, some rehab of rental projects, of rental developments that are really needed. As a city council member, how would you balance the requests of the community councils and the needs of the broader community when it comes to development?
I think that still goes back to the earlier question of open and transparent government. What I have found in Hyde Park is we have a little different issue. We've had buildings that have come up that aren't in the style of Hyde Park, if you will, that they're modern buildings or that they're large and they don't fit in with the area. And my experience with that is when the councils have gone forward, the neighborhood councils, and said, we don't think this fits in, they've been told, tough luck, that's what's going up. And so it's been a different experience. But I think as far as veto power, I think that they need to work, the city and the community councils together, and really the information has to be shared as far as what is going in. I think we need to have environments for the elderly. We've had the same issues in Hyde Park with Marjorie Peely and the Dupree House with those organizations expanding, and they were allowed to expand. So I think that we just really need to balance the neighborhood's thoughts and what the neighborhood would like and with what's right for the citizens that are coming in. And, you know, someone had said once at one of the retirement homes, they're still citizens of the city. They live here, they pay taxes here, so we need to really understand that their rights and make more of that type of housing available for them. But I think if we talk to the community councils and if they feel like it's really being honest, then we can go forward.
During the recent budget battle on city council, there were actually several public hearings held where people could give input. But my question is, what this basically came down to, it seems to most outsiders, is do you believe that any departments at City Hall should be exempt from the being asked for budget cuts?
No, absolutely not. I think we need to include all of the departments in budget cuts. I think what we need to do, though, is as the city, what I don't see is we need to have priorities of what are the priorities for the city and start with police and fire because that's essential to the city to grow. So how many police do we need? What fire sources do we need? Start with police and fire and then go down to the basic services that people need. Sewer, water, snow removal. And we go through the budget that way, and then when we have, whether less or more money, then we can make cuts as appropriate. But I don't think there's any one department that should be totally exempt. There's always extra in each department. I do think with the police, a better way rather than layoffs would be through attrition. FOP President Kathy Harrell said that about 30 to 35 policemen retire every year, and I think if we need to reduce our police force, that would be a more managed way to do it and won't cause upsets within the department of losing the people that have just started with the police force that are the best trained and most recently trained.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Murray, we heard this question earlier, but I wanted to get your opinion on it. A big indicator into whether or not a family moves into a particular neighborhood is the schooling.
Mm-hmm.
If elected, what is your plan for improving schools, especially funding for the Cincinnati School District in order to keep more of the city tax base in place for Cincinnati Public Schools?
Sure. Well, I think that education is just critical. And as I mentioned, my one son attends Walnut Hills High School, and I think the city is doing a really good job at especially having these magnet schools that are keeping families here. I think we need to continue working in the neighborhoods. Now, unfortunately, City Council doesn't have a lot to do with the funding of the school system. But I think that there's a small percentage that the City Council does fund to the school system, so we need to keep that up. But I think, the schools are essential. When people move here from out of state, we want them to move into the city because of the schools. And so I think we need to work collaboratively with the schools to help however we can to increase the education. Some of the schools are on academic watch, and people don't want to move into those neighborhoods because they want their kids to have the right schooling. So we need to work with Mary Ronan and the schools to increase the level of education and the scorecards for those schools.
Ms. Murray.
Thank you. My name's Amy Murray. Thank you for coming out this evening. When we talk about neighborhoods and revitalization, I think it all starts with jobs. We need to have enough jobs in the city so that we can have a higher tax revenue and we can provide the services to the city and the neighborhood. One thing we didn't get a chance to talk about, I think in neighborhoods, the recreation centers are critical to our children. Keeping the swimming pools open and having places for the children to go is crucial and critical. Council has not been getting along. We've been reading about it. And my point is, it doesn't matter if you're on the right or the left, but it's are you moving backwards or forwards? And I plan on moving forwards to make Cincinnati a better city, to safe, clean, and livable neighborhoods. My name is Amy Murray. Thank you.